Hello and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show. I'm Katrina Collier. I'm, of course, author of the Robot Proof Recruiter, which I might not show every single show. Oh my gosh, it's tripled. It's had babies. And I am also a facilitator and speaker. I'm, of course, joined by my gorgeous co-host, the very talented talent acquisition professional, the one, the only, the amazing, Mr. Glenn Martin.
Hola.
Oh, that was a bit delayed, wasn't it? Regular viewers, yeah. What are we going to do with him? And today I'm super excited to be talking to another talented talent acquisition professional, Ms. Liz Dowling. Welcome to the Social Recruiting Show.
Welcome, Liz. Welcome.
Thank you.
Liz and I were having another one of our marathon conversations on the telephone. That's like old school, we actually call people and speak. And I loved the topic that we were talking about. So we had to have you on the show so we could talk about, I'm actually going to do my banner earlier, post-pandemic considerations, which is a bit random to be having when they've just extended our lockdown here in the UK for 3 weeks. But big topic. And I still think it's quite important, even though they've just done that. So Liz, welcome.
Welcome, Liz. And before we get into the main context of today's chat, it'd be really cool for people the very few people that don't know you, Liz. How did you get into recruitment?
I was conned. Seriously,
that's the best answer yet, isn't it?
I was supposed to be like chief marketing officer of Diageo now. That was my route. So basically I left university, halfway through leaving university, I got offered some grad schemes, and my dad, being an accountant, advised me to go to Michael Page and get some advice. And they said that I should go and join them for my first year and see all sides of the fence. And then I'd be able to make my mind up whether I wanted to go into an advertising agency or client side to be, fabulous in marketing. Yeah, and here I am.
Decent kid.
5 years later.
20 years later.
I know.
So I did 5 years with recruitment companies, a startup was one of them, which is part of VMR, and then got really bored. I was like, right, I've got to surprisingly, go and learn more. So I went into an advertising agency and basically bartered with them that if I saved them money in recruitment, they should invest in me and pay for my HR and training qualifications.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the rest is history. So in that whole space, I spent 15 years, went from an advertising agency to a tech digital agency, and then ended up working for AKQA, getting them acquired by WPP, and then taking 9 different agencies that had been acquired by WPP and merging them into one in Seattle.
Makes me want wine just thinking about it.
I know, 200,000 air miles a year, 24 countries, 1,500 people, 9 boards, all wanting to be top of the tree. So naturally, it was great fun. It was really good fun. I came back to the UK in 2014 and thought I'll take some time off, and then just naturally kind of ended up working with companies that were looking to go through change or scale or growth, and doing both everything from managing talent acquisition through to looking at the whole HR infrastructure, including restructuring boards, etc. So
wow.
So you don't like doing any small projects then, Liz? For you, small is boring. Bigger, more complex, more complicated, the better.
No, I think that actually I one of the few people that I still love the day-to-day of recruitment. So I will still get involved in recruiting receptionists to understand the whole workflow. And actually I think that my lessons have been to pick off something that's small and transform it and do it well and deliver results.
Love that. We have some hellos coming through here that I just feel the need to share, because actually this is really cool. Vanessa Ralph from South Africa. Hello, Vanessa. Well done. Considering this is like alcohol o'clock. Mind you, I think you guys are running out down there. Marion Gordon, hello. I don't think you had me before. Emma Fryvogel. I mean, the awesome Mr. Jim Beresford. Vikram, thank you for joining us yet again. I've got Robin Schooling over here saying, Audrey is doing her usual. And importantly, Stephen Telford asks, are there no limits to the style of Glenn's wardrobe? Loving the shirt. With an arm thing, which I won't do because I'm too old to do that.
Blending into his
Yeah. There are no limits to the wardrobe at all. It's shameless.
And Vikram, we're going to be having a chat about a different discussion, so I have to come back to your question after the show. So,
topic up.
Liz and I. Oh, shall I do it again? I've already done it.
Get the topic up.
We're not doing it up.
Post-pandemic.
I know, which is a bit random because we just got locked down the UK for another 3 weeks, didn't we? And I think the US is still part lockdown and South Africa is certainly locked down. Hey, do you know what? They can't even buy alcohol in South Africa. We have.
I know. Alcohol.
Hello, Marvin.
Hey, Marvin.
Alcohol or cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's really good, though. People stop smoking.
What are we saying?
This came about because Liz had a completely different viewpoint on when we start dribbling back to work, which I thought was really interesting. So she can elaborate.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of people going, "Woo, it's going to be great, going back to work." And actually, I think there are going to be a lot of people. I think what we have to remember is that every single person is experiencing different things at the moment as individuals. Mm-hmm. Some people are like grieving, like the loss of loved ones. Other people are like having like massive loneliness. Other people are just like sitting here like we go like hungry, like cleaning the house, like doing all this stuff. And I think that kind of like combination. You've also got like things like domestic violence, and there's an awful lot going on. And also, I'm not sure that a lot of people are going to want to jump like on public transport and go back into their normal life. And I also
think this will be a bit like post 9/11, post July 7. No? You think people will be more hesitant?
Absolutely, because I think that how are you going to get to and from work with social distancing? Because the government is saying that we're going to have to social distance until we've got the vaccine, which is 12 months away. And it's kind of crazy to me as well that you can't throw an event for over 500 people, but yet you can get on the tube or you can go into an office. Yeah. And they're thinking like about like Oxford Street, you're going to have to walk on the right-hand side if you're going one way. Left, that's just crazy.
One way pavement.
And then like face masks. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And also, and also as well, there's going to be some people that are going to be completely overwhelmed. Like myself, I'm self-isolating. So by the time June comes, I'm not going to have actually had like a hug or any like physical like interaction for what?
Come on, you've got Noah.
I've got
animals.
No, absolutely, but that would be quite weird for me. I might be like, get the fuck away. Sorry.
Yeah.
But you know,
you're swearing.
Shifts.
Can I just say while you're swearing, some of the people in the side channel I'd love to hug. Liz Nevitt, who I haven't met in person yet, but I know is also a 71 baby. I'd love to hug her. Sophie Power, best hugs ever. And Evan, you give pretty good hugs as well. So, and Robin Schooling certainly does. Robin's probably doing that to everyone. Oh, and even Ian Pettigrew's in today. We've got all the cool people in today.
Yeah.
So who's going to invent an app?
Can we ping Ian's question up? Because I think it's quite timely.
No, because Ian's writing on LinkedIn rather than over on Facebook where all the cool kids hang out. Do you think the question is, do you think many people want to go into an office anymore, or might people have got a taste for remote working? So I think that goes on with your single thing. It depends what they're needing, doesn't it?
So I think the whole thing is that I think you need to create a hybrid. And I think that everybody's going to be quite unique. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she works in an advertising agency, and they're like planning like a big party, because like all of their they want to come back to work because their whole like life is around their workplace, and they're all missing each other so much. Like they're on house party 24/7. She's like, oh my god, they're not seeing anyone. And so they're like, actually like, they can't wait to get back together. But there are going to be other people that are just like, I'm scared. I've got fear, but also as well, like, I think everyone's going to have different experiences from this. And I think it's really important to recognize that, but also start planning for that now. And one of the things that concerns me is that we've been on this, like, for the last 11 years, this like hyper growth and companies, talking about transformation and future work, blah, 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 and like, we're going to invest in learning and development. But I don't think there are very many people out there that have had investment in terms of communication. So they don't know how to have these conversations with people, especially as well when you throw in the whole kind of complexity around like #MeToo, where men are like concerned to have like conversations with women in case like they get into trouble. And also as well, there'll be certain people that don't know how to have, if someone has had someone that's passed away, they're going to be like, oh God, I don't know what to do if I like kind of like open that can of worms. But I think it's really important and I think it's brilliant actually that the lockdown's been extended for us as a function, because it gives us an opportunity to get our shit together. And the first thing that I personally would be doing if I had a job is I would be like sending out some form of survey to my employees to understand, like, one, how's it been? How are you doing? 2, what are the experiences that you're going through? 3, do you want to talk about them, or do you just want to like be left alone? 4, like what does your new world look like? And do you want to come back full time? Things like
there's a can of worms. You ask them that question
on that.
Well, how do you want to come back to work? Of course you do. You can't expect them to like. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go for it. You can't expect them to.
You're the guest.
I don't think you can expect people to. I would personally feel if someone turned around and said, right, you've got to be in the office next Monday, I'd be like, hang on, when it suits you, I'm expected to turn my home into an office, a school, etc. But then as soon as you're ready to like get back to work, I have to like, this is like a mutual relationship going forward, and the whole like dynamics of business and work has changed.
Some good comments here on that. So sorry, Glenn, I so interrupted you the second time. Well, actually, Liz interrupted you the first time. My company did that so great. They asked questions like, what worries you about returning to work? So that's Audra, who works remotely anyway, to be fair. She's very spoiled. And Sophie, we've been calling everyone to ask people how they're managing. Is there anything they need, support equipment wise, etc. It's been really helpful. That's so cool.
I think that's the point on both Audra and Sophie's point there. I think you could perhaps use a survey to start the conversation, but actually the conversation needs to be very much one-to-one. And I think this is where leaders and managers need to really think about now how they're going to approach that conversation, or start having that dialogue. Because I think if, so for us, collectively, we're kind of knowledge workers, we could gradually return to the office without real pressure, whereas some people might.
Don't know.
You, Katrina, obviously.
No,
but some people might have real reservations around it.
She's not going anywhere.
But also, like, people are quirky, right? So Vikram has written, when I was a freelance mobile dev, I did work from home, but in the current role, I prefer an office setting. Like, how's that for contrary? And what's Ivan written here? The idea of getting in a car and driving for an hour to the city, I'm not sure I'm looking forward to that, really.
So this is what they're saying. So a lot of people are saying, like leisure and travel is having like a complete dip. But actually, if you look at it, they're saying that in like the big cities, hotels are going to like go through the roof, because people are going to actually be commuting. They're going to be going in on a Monday, staying there till a Thursday, and going home, because they don't want the toing and froing. Because I was reading that one. And the other thing is as well is that, what about people's childcare? Because nurseries have like gone under, they've had to pull people out, or they might have to let their nanny go. So it's like you can't click a button and expect people to come back. But also be interesting to see, I don't think that anyone, I'd love to hear if a company's been measuring productivity, because obviously we knew that before this. Well, you don't like.
I reckon it's gone up.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like, I don't know if you ever read like the Edelman Trust Barometer. and they did a survey in November, and 75% of people that they spoke to had anxiety and fear about losing their job due to gig economy, recession, etc. And it was they'd already said that they had lost faith in the system, in democracy, capitalism. So then now 87% of people are looking to CEOs as their their leaders. So I think that there's a lot on companies' plates because they've got the whole crisis management piece going on. But also, if you look at a lot of the businesses that have done very well, you normally get promoted because you're good at what you actually do rather than because you're a good leader. And I think...
Oh, she's gone.
Do you think she... Okay.
Okay. Well, on that
Katrina
point
Francis, I will tell Liz your comment there.
Yeah, when she comes back.
What's Lee written here? Lee's written War and Peace as ever. We've been in a credit debt bubble. Here she is. Dun,
Cool.
dun.
Back in.
Hi.
Now I'm in the middle.
Did you just chuck me out?
No.
I
just brought in Lee's comment to fill in the time. We've been in a credit debt bubble, as some say, since I guess that means since
1968.
COVID-19 is simply the very large needle that has burst the bubble. This bubble is far worse than the subprime bubble.
So
work in commerce will be redefined the next 10 years.
So I was listening to a psychologist yesterday, and he was saying that actually COVID is the best thing that's ever happened to us because it's like a very expensive form of vaccination. But with biohacking and everything that's going on, that we could have been in a lot more trouble. And it's kind of like a bit of a wake-up call. And it's going to enable us to get our infrastructure in place, because what's amazing is that we have been going on about future work, digital transformation, for flipping years. And it's amazing that all these companies that actually have last week they didn't know what a website was, and now suddenly they've transformed their entire business and they're online up and running, and we're still dragged down by bureaucracy and red tape and acquired fears. So I absolutely agree.
For anyone who's a wee bit older than I am, so people that are into their 50s, so we take the ex-husband, currently he's yelling at his Zoom screen upstairs, it's hilarious. But how fast he has got to grips with Zoom, managed to get some other crazy cyclists together and is running classes and earning income as well. But
that's what about
agile. I've been mind blown by how fast he's done that.
This is the thing. I think that as businesses that are in that space, we're so you've got to ask for permission for that, you've got to do this, but also as well acquired fears. Everyone else who had no idea about technology before, they're often my dad's doing Zoom on Bridge. He didn't know, actually my mum is driving me crazy because she's turned into a detective. It started I didn't know you did that in 2014. Libby, oh God, what are you on now?
Oh. You added her on Facebook? No.
But it did take me about an hour last week to train them on Zoom. So.
Do you think, the thing is though, this has forced a lot of people to change, right? There's forced change in business models. But I wanted to pick up on your point. In terms of productivity, because I think oftentimes productivity is measured through a kind of subjective and objective measure, right? So if somebody's in an office, you can see them, surely they're busy. And so certain managers and leaders now perhaps have to reframe how they view productivity based on obviously the virtual scenario. So what's your thoughts on that?
So I think we're going to see a lot of technology from other spaces come into the sector. So my friends have been telling me about Classroom Dojo, which they've been using to just schooling, and every morning it kind of sets tasks, and at the end, you kind of go along and give your examples and stuff. It's God, that's amazing. Why don't we have that in the corporate world? You actually give people tasks, you give examples, and you measure them, and you can actually see the productivity. I don't know if there are very many businesses that are actually measuring productivity in terms of an efficient way of quality versus quantity. So the companies that look you've got to deliver these KPIs, but actually what's the end result? And then the whole OKRs or wows or whatever we're calling them this week, people like could be like brilliant in terms of they could be like kicking down the door, but there could be people saying, no, hold up, you're not allowed to do that. So I think, you know, we've got to get better at actually looking at how we measure productivity and then how we look at like what are the roadblocks that people face.
Yeah. And, you know, certainly
presenteeism is still a problem.
I agree.
The presenteeism, there'll still be that issue of we want you at your desk so we can see you. I mean, the people that is opening up like Zoom rooms and you have to sit in front of your computer all day, that kind of crap. Whereas it's actually, crazy. I find personally, but then I don't have children. Okay, so I hold my hands up to that. But I get more work done in a shorter period of time. Yeah, because I can just go in and concentrate. Whereas when I was in an office, I was forever distracted by other people's noises and the coffee conversations and just people would just interrupt you, wouldn't they? As I think you've got a bit more control at home. But I don't have children, so.
No, but I don't think it matters on how. I think everyone works in different ways, and if you really want to create a diverse workforce, you have to enable people. Like, you know, by nature, tech like developers, they tend to be night owls, so they will do like better like in the evening. Some people will do better like with like short bursts. So I think you have to. You know, adapt to if you really want to deliver, and this is going to actually like separate the wheat from the chaff in terms of employers now. But it's like you need to get out of the way. You need to engage your people. You need to let them fix this. I need to trust them. And if you don't have that trust and empathy, you're not going to survive.
So, what do you think? I'm gonna throw a scenario at you. What do you think a company should do when they're like, okay, we're back, we expect you in, and the staff go, no, that was really good, that was out of frame, nobody knows what I just did. I like the other day where it was very in frame. But like, you know, and the employee just goes, nah. Well, I've been working from home, I've been more productive, I enjoy it, I'm getting like
well, number one,
are there legalities on that? I don't know. Like,
there's nowhere to hide now, right? Because we've got until June, so you've got to sort your God, I keep wanting to swear. You've got to sort things out. So
I don't mind if you swear. It will be recorded and on LinkedIn forever that you have sworn. But oh my gosh, does that make you human?
Exactly. This is a really good opportunity for HR and talent to step up and to like basically pull people together and say, right, what are our business priorities? What are we going to focus on? And then to actually align their workforce across that and to start having conversations now in terms of like, right, who wants to come back full time? Because don't forget as well, people have been accruing holiday, and that is a lot of cost for a business. When you look at so I think that businesses, so HR and talent, they need to basically like focus on the priorities, then look at the alignment, then actually like go out and say, right, who's up? Who's coming back? Who's not? If you're working from home, what's your plan? Because I think the one thing is that you have to be responsible. You can't work from home and still have your children running around. You know what I mean? You have to.
They'll be back to school, won't they? So hopefully.
They won't.
In September. They'll be back in September.
Yeah, September. But we like, I think that
it's only 5 months away. It won't take long to be here before you know it, as it is every year.
But I think that the businesses that are really smart are going to start like getting things together remotely in the next couple of weeks.
On that point, here are two completely contrasting ones. So, Evan, I feel bad for contractors. Well, I think this is this specific contractor, to be fair. I have a contractor friend that every 20 minutes has to check in via video and wave and show he is at his home office. Right. So that's not about that contractor. That's a company with trust issues. Yeah. Then you've got the opposite from Sophie Power. No, but look at this. I know one company that has handed the lease in on their office. Yeah, good for them. And now they're 100% remote. Boom.
Yeah. Cool. So number one with Evan, I would ask your friend to go back as a contractor and say, how much time am I wasting? You're actually paying me on a day rate and I'm spending like 1 hour of it checking in with you. Actually, like give me proper goals, let me go. And then
there's a real trust issue there, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is that why on earth would you, that's probably something I would imagine to do more with the manager rather than the company. Because the CFO was like, You're getting them to stop every 20 minutes. It's like, you know, when people have that onboarding for contractors and spend a day in a room, and I'm like, I'm here for a week.
You've already got this issue. You've already got this issue where managers were often promoted and not given any support. Like we've had Sue Ingram on talk about that. So baby, isn't it? Like, you know, promote managers and let them die kind of thing.
Exactly.
And then you suddenly got their whole team has gone remote. So they've gone from already not necessarily having the skills to having remote teams. I mean, it's pretty damn tough, isn't it? But again, and then it's going to be, oh, but we want people back in the office and some of them don't want to come. Like, I think the managers are really a bit screwed, aren't they?
Well, no, but I think that goes down to the fact that they don't have the support from HR and talent to say, right, this is what you are supposed to deliver as a team. And because the managers they're basically trying to safeguard themselves. So the reason that they want people to check in is that they can say, well, we like doing everything that we can, or having check-ins with people, because things are, nobody's looking at the actual outcome and delivery. It's more like, you know, if you sit there all day long, whereas like I couldn't give a toss if you work for me and you do your work in 2 hours a day or 8 hours a day. If you get it done, fine. Like, you know, it's up to you how you work and where you work, as long as you deliver what's needed. And
actually, if you hire people who are really talented and it's natural skill for them, right? And they're in flow when they're doing that piece of work, they probably will do it really fast because it's really easy for them. And that's why you should actually hire that person.
But also, so if you give someone, it's like, you know, that classic, I can't remember what it is, but you know, the factory where the manager gave them the keys to, like, they said, oh, you know, like, he's like, oh, why is productivity dropped? They're like, oh, you moved the lights. So here you go, here's the keys to the lights. And they actually he put a line on, like, and they put the lights back to where they were before, but because they felt that they were in control, they were like, God, work really hard because we've got the keys to like cover the light. God knows what we might get next week. So it's the way that you engage people and you make them feel that they're part of the business. And, you know, they have a purpose and, you know, they want to be, and this is the biggest thing as well. I think that a lot of individuals are going to want to be part of rebuilding companies and doing the right thing. There's a lot of people, if you look you know, like there's so many people that are doing like meetups, Eventbrite, etc., because they don't feel that they have a purpose at work and they don't feel that they can add value. And, you know, they go out, you know, like I've got a friend of mine who, like, you know, spends 5 hours a weekend, like running football teams. I'm like, oh my God. And that's because he feels that he wants to make a difference to the next generation. I'm like, can't you do that in your workplace? Like, no, I'm not allowed to.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah. So you're talking about employees and the focus on employees.
Yeah.
What about potential new employees? Now, individuals that are thinking, you know, post-COVID, are thinking about joining a new company, and they're like, okay, this is the work model I want. I want 3 days a week from home. I want 2 days a week, you know, working in the office, or I want 100% complete remote. Now, companies have got to think about how they position themselves now, because the old adage of, well, you pass your probation and we'll look at maybe 1 day a week from home. Sounds ridiculous now, doesn't it?
It does, but at the same time, if I was thinking about this the other day, I don't think I would accept a permanent job without actually meeting someone physically.
Oh, I agree.
Even if it was like 2 weeks, like socially distanced.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about when you join.
Process. We're talking about the actual hours you and where you work.
So in terms of
I think that there's a certain amount you have to build credibility and trust, but also you need to be. I think you do. I think really as well. Also as well, it's important for you to be like dunked almost in the company culture to understand it. So perhaps, you know, you might work remotely, but perhaps you've got a buddy that you work with, because I don't think that onboarding programs at the moment are sophisticated enough to give you enough.
Oh, I'm going to argue that one. The in-house role I had, 18 months, I worked remote practically all of it, and I knew the culture of that company.
But they already had a remote culture, right?
No, I was the only one remote. Oh, well, they are client sides for the consultants or in the office. I was just, because the office was so small, you can't really talk salaries in an office that small. So I was working from home.
Yeah. So most of my kind of like jobs, I literally, like, I operate from where's best in terms of what I'm doing at that point in time. But I do think, I'm just thinking to myself, if you are, I know that like with I think people like to feel an organization. They like to see that actually like what the values are written on the wall actually exist. And I think it's very interesting to see how companies showcase that and give that, you know, kind of like feeling to it almost.
Perhaps I should have been a little bit clearer. I guess what I'm thinking about is the empowerment of the individual that's thinking about joining that company. So rather than it being dictated to them that we do 1 day a week working from home, that's your only option. It's been proven now that that is really a trust issue. It's not a technology issue. It's not a business model issue. It's you know, it's the, you know, the emotive element of it. So now if a candidate kind of goes, well, don't you have options to think about, you know, the way I want to engage? And I take your point about, but some companies need to rethink that because they're still thinking, oh, we'll default back to what we were, how we operated previously.
So is this something HR should be focused on now? Like literally looking at
focused on now, but I also think that actually, I think that we believe that companies have actually now like managed to accelerate their future of work and they're like remote ready. They have not. They've got it like stuck on with like, you know, like sellotape.
I love the fact all of us just went.
No.
We're like those clowns, you know, in the show.
And also let's we are not remote working. We are working because of a pandemic. Like this isn't like, you know, so there has to be, I believe, and this is like, I love Josh Burton, so like I get so excited about it. He's saying like this has to be like the big reset. It's like everything that you've done as a HR team, put it in the bin. Is it like I don't know, like Marie Kondo or something? Like who like talks like you. This is your opportunity to clean house. This is your opportunity to get rid of all the bureaucracy, the process, the politics, the policies, the tech, everything. Start as you would like if you're building from like the best house in the world. The foundations. How would you want it to look? And be really smart about that. And actually like cut the facts, cut the bureaucracy, like enable your business, because he said if you can actually get this crisis management piece right and you can pull together the leadership team and you can like allocate the priorities and sort out the workforce, you're going to be a god, you know, like a god. So you can do whatever you want then. But also he's like, there is so much wastage in HR teams and in like so many people have tech that they don't use that doesn't tie together, that you've got like a person like knotting pieces together. He's like, throw it out the door and start again. So you
have the budget, obviously.
Yeah, of course, clearly.
Well, but you would have the budget, right? Because the thing is that, you know, when you think about you know, the cost of just, you know, LinkedIn, recruiter seats, and
I see. Okay.
But also as well, just if you've got people working remotely, I do think there is a case to say, well, actually, because you're not commuting anymore, you know, if you're not coming into London anymore, you're working from home. I think we are going to see that shift. And if I was working with a really engaged, smart talent team, I was saying to them, right, guys, if you want to work remotely, what we need to do is we need to put the right tools and processes in place to set us up for success. So we're all up for putting like $2,000 of our salary into a pot. Let's go. And then actually like working back into the business. You're looking at me like this, look at you.
Yeah, I think.
If you asked me to give up $2,000 of my salary, I'd probably tell you where to go.
Yeah.
It depends though. It depends though on how that's set up. Because I've done this before with businesses.
If I already have it, I'm not necessarily going to give it back. If you were like, well, you were going to get a $5,000 pay rise, but actually we're going to keep 2 for learning and development and tech and give you 3, then I might.
No,
that's a couple of comments.
Yeah.
A couple of comments I want to share. First off, because there was a nice comment here. Katrina Francis said, I love your ideas. And I did see that Claire Bush was here. I don't know if she's still here, so shout out to her. Tom Bolt.
Happy birthday, Claire.
She's only like, or 2 days late. Anyway, you know it was Wednesday. All right, right. Tom Bolt. Hello, Tom. I don't think we've had you here before. Unfortunately, the bureaucracy in a self-preserving entity. There is, I think, is the bureaucracy in is a self-preserving entity. I'm completely screwing reading this out, and will resist anything that will challenge the way it used to be. So unfortunately, the bureaucracy is a self-preserving entity, yes, and will resist anything that would change the way it used to be.
So I think you have to challenge that and say, like, bureaucracy or death.
Literally, companies, I can see where he's coming from. Definitely.
Yeah,
and I think it might be easier for smaller scale companies, to your point, Liz, to kind of pivot and change. But if you're a large scale investment bank with massive ingrained processes, hierarchy, bureaucracy, they're not just going to throw that out the window.
Well, I think they need to like look at it. They need to do an audit, and of course there are certain like regulatory things that they have to do. But actually, if they really want to be agile and they want to deliver, and don't forget, we're going to a completely different world now. It's going to be like all about like, you know, human like consciousness. Like people aren't going to really care like what tin is on your box. They're going to be looking about how you deliver and who you deliver it with.
And actually, on the financial institution, Glenn, don't forget the likes of Starling Bank, for example.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy for me to open an account with them compared to when I opened NatWest. Like, what a difference in bureaucratical crap for me, the customer. You kind of go, I want that ease. Then, as an employee, I know I'm not commenting on how they treat their stuff.
Bank, though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's still
but that's what
still
you
the
need
future.
Exactly, but that's what
low overheads. Like they're online, low overheads, less impact on the planet.
Less impact on the planet, but also as well a contingency plan. I've spent 6 weeks trying to get through to NatWest. And yesterday, when I eventually did get through after 4.5 hold, he said, well, our call centre can't cope because we've gone from 3,000 calls a day to 25,000. I said, well, so when are you going to call me back and sort it out? And he's like, we don't know. And I was like, but I'm paying you. I'm a customer. I can't turn around to Microsoft
sorry, no fees at Starling, big fees at NatWest as well.
Yeah, but also like Microsoft don't turn around and say like, sorry, I can't deliver your service. You know, that whole kind of like, you have to have a contingency plan.
Yeah.
So
sorry, this is just quite funny. Changes for others, not corporate HR or large agencies.
Yeah.
Oh, John.
Oh, is it? John. That's a little John sarcasm.
Change, believe me.
Everyone. This is awesome from Sophie Power earlier. I know I'm going back a little bit, but I've been pretty much remote for the whole of my current gig. 3 days in, we went remote, and I felt really connected to the team. It's doable to translate culture remotely, but it's proactive. You have to make an effort.
Yeah,
but see, exactly. I keep seeing teams getting closer now they're remote because they're not sitting all day with these on in open plan offices, texting each other.
Yeah.
So I'm actually seeing conversations.
But you're also being allowed to work as you want. Like it's the whole like Bruce Daisley talks about that joy of work, and he's saying that you know, people like when you go from like offices to open plan, suddenly people are like, oh God, that woman's driving me crazy. She's going on about Coronation Street, or someone's playing music, and actually starts like have this real kind of like anger towards your like colleagues. And email percentage goes up by 75%. It's crazy.
Yeah. But it's also that thing. I mean, the change as well. When Glenn and I were working at Spring with the open plan, we weren't allowed to wear these. We weren't allowed to have a headset on our head. People have to talk. Hi, Lee. People have to talk to and with each other. It's dreadful.
Yeah.
Shocking.
No, they do. I think, I think the fact is that let's just like get real about this. So lockdown isn't finishing until June, but the long and short of it is that a vaccine isn't coming for 12 to 18 months. So whether you like it or not, companies are going to have to either decide whether they're checking out or they're going to adapt. And it's a very long time to keep everything together with like duct tape. You've got to sort it out. And the thing is,
they do have the time right now. A lot.
Absolutely. Well, I think that what you invest now in terms of the foundations and actually, but also as well, like engaging people, because if you help people fix this problem, they're gonna like be so wedded and invested. And I think also, you know, there's a lot of, I think we're going to see like attrition drop because people are going to be scared. because like UK is another furlough. People are saying there's going to be a large spike in terms of contractors. I'm not too sure about that. I think we'll see contractors saying, I want a fixed term contract, so can I do temp to perm? I think people will want security and consistency. So I think you need to like adapt your workforce and your workplace, whether that be like, physical.
Actually, the other thing you talked about when we were on our call, which I found quite interesting and I've not really thought about, for those that are actually suffering more stress now they're working at home. You were talking about like, I mean, we talked about, you know, abuse, etc., but also just the pressure of the kids and the work and everything. You felt they might come back to work and flake.
Definitely. So if you look at the recession in 2008, there was a massive increase in terms of like work-related stress afterwards. I couldn't believe that like suicide increased by like 16%. Just like, you know, incredible. I think the fear and the anxiety, and I think there'll be some people that have been holding it all together because they're at home, they're trying to manage everything, they've got kids in the background, they've got, and also as well, they're probably trying to keep themselves like peps up, like stay positive. And then once things like go back to normal, and don't forget as well, when you think about people don't trust the media, they don't trust the system, they don't trust society. For a lot of them, like work is like where, you know, they feel like they've got their friends or, you know, CEO. So I think there's going to be an awful lot of businesses that need to look at I think actually the first thing you need to do is look at health and well-being. And understand.
And have the really deep conversations like, are you financially struggling? I mean, we should be having that with our friends, and people won't admit, you know what, I actually can't afford the rent. I can't afford the mortgage. I can't.
Absolutely.
It's like a pride thing, which is what the suicide thing comes from. It's like I'll just pretend it's not happening, and then it all gets too much.
But also don't forget as well, if you're like a graduate and you're on furlough, so you're only getting 80% your salary, and suddenly like you're asked to go back to work next week. Like I know like some of like grads that I used to work with that literally they'd be on baked beans from like, you know, mid-month. And like suddenly to have to start commuting, it's expensive.
Well, luckily they're not out drinking though, let's be fair.
Do you think
they're drinking at home?
No, certainly I've saved on the nails and the hair. I did cut my own fringe, I'm very proud of that.
I think that we have disposable income, but I think there are a lot of people that don't when they're first starting out.
Do you think
I wouldn't call my income stable right now?
Sorry?
Do you think companies are perpetuating the uncertainty? Because obviously they're waiting for, i.e. the government exit plan, what the new norm might be. Well, actually, if they see and observe now certain working styles are working for people, why don't they start having a conversation about this is your new norm?
Because it requires someone from HR talent to go and sit down with the C-suite and say to them, this is our new norm. You need to lead. Because the CEO and the C-suite, they are managing like the client issues, like your supply chain management. You're in charge of the people. You're in charge of the workforce. Your job is to make sure the right people are in the right place, at the right time to deliver work. So get out of your ass and do it. Like, this is a brilliant.
It's not easy. So bless my chiropractor for having an emergency appointment. He's technically meant to be shut like 99% of them are, but anyway, he's just going, I'm not getting a business rates reprieve because for some reason chiropractors don't get it, which is insane, right? All of the other shops of the street get it, but he doesn't. He's not getting this. The furlough money hasn't come through yet, but he's got to pay. He's worried about his tax, and like there's stress he's under. He's not thinking about what happens. He can't even see past next week because of the stress of how do I not have to let go of all the staff that he absolutely loves. And that's just one company. It's crazy. There's so little information coming to them. And I don't think the press is helping, because all it really is we're just talking trash, and we're just interviewing people who are dying and more people that are dying, and we're not actually looking at survival rates or what's going good that's going on. And then add to that, the government really doesn't know what it's doing because it's never been through it before.
But that's also one thing that I think that as a responsibility to each other in an ecosystem, I see a lot of companies just like, hey, have more tools. Like, no, stop throwing tools. Actually give people like research, like toolkits to do their job, like elevate them, like throwing more tech into the process at the moment is not going to help. You need to set them up for success. And, you know, I think the thing is as well that I'm surprised that the government haven't asked companies to look at their supply chain as well, because there are 3% of us that have completely got no protection. My pipeline disappeared overnight.
Yeah, same.
And I'm waiting. I've got invoices that are late from, people that are screaming and shouting about how brilliantly they're doing and what they're providing. I'm like, give me my money. So, my whole business is being funded at the moment on a personal credit card. So I think that we do need to start, kind of like looking at that whole piece as well in terms of like, how are we helping each other?
Responsibility to one another. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And actually on that, just doing a plant, because, I've got my little thing over there. I'm pointing the wrong way. This really is backwards, isn't it? The Slave Free Alliance are doing a free webinar about your supply chain and actually how it is impacting people that are trapped in modern day slavery. So I'll make sure I share the link. I actually shared it earlier on LinkedIn. But I'll add it on the comments here for anyone who has any kind of supply chain whatsoever, because there are 40.3 million. So they're really suffering as well as you and I, Liz, with non-payment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also, I have Kemp Little law firm have developed a hub, which is for free, which is for people that they can go to and like all the advice that you need, all like toolkits, etc. So I'll share that as well. But that's the stuff that's really useful that you need. That's just kind of like you could spend like 5 hours looking through like ACAS and CIPD, whereas that's the information that's going to like make it
a bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
So do you have any final words for the HR and talent people that are tuning in? And there's lots of them, which is really lovely. I feel like our whole family's tuned in. I know I practically know every person that's tuned in, which is cool. Have you got any final?
I think be mindful that everyone is going through different experiences at this point in time. So I think that having patience and understanding if perhaps people fly off the handle or don't deliver, I think that we need to be a little bit more just conscious of everyone else at the moment. And I think also like use this time to invest in all those projects that have been like on your to-do list. If you're employed, like this is your opportunity to get them done, but also like step up. This is now like the biggest opportunity that you have ever had to really like show what you can do. And like don't wait to be asked, just like get going and find a mentor. Reach out to someone. Like if you're in a position where you're standalone or you don't know what you're doing, just reach out. Like I'm really happy as well. I can chaperone you towards people that are, think great, but just people have got time and actually people want to help. So use this as your opportunity to shine.
I agree.
Cool.
Completely.
Yeah, totally.
Time to step up.
100%.
Right. I've not actually checked if next week's guest is coming or not, because I asked a while ago. So
should I come again?
Otherwise, Liz might be back. Sorry. The schedule, because we're trying to keep everything on theme with this as well, with what's going on with the pandemic and what can help and spark ideas of what people can be doing now. Much as I still think this is a good topic. So I'll come back on that one.
Be interesting. It would be really good to find out.
Wrote lovely comment. Find a mentor or be one. Lots of people know I do that. Actually, Shamila just popped in. I told her I'm mentoring her. I don't know how she feels about that. And obviously Emma Freiberger.
Don't be afraid as well to be a mentor. Don't be afraid to be a mentor. I think some people are like, oh, I'm not like, you could always add value because actually just diversity of thought is brilliant.
But sometimes it's just a conversation, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's all I do. So I just talk or listen. I try and listen.
Yeah.
Not my highest strength. Active listening, not my highest strength. That's why I've got a stage to teach me that. Thank you, Liz. Love the good energy between the three of you. I'll have to get Liz on the show as well. She can know that she's 71, baby. Right. So, Liz Dowling, thank you so much for all of that and coming on. Particularly as you had to jump in last minute because we had a change. So, but amazing ideas going on there. Glenn, as ever. And to everybody that's tuned in and all your thousands of comments and everything, thank you so much. We shall be back next week with a topic of some description that we will let you know at some point next week.
Yeah, I'll keep on going to all those people.
There'll be a video post on Thursday. Just look out for it.
There'll be something at some point. So we will be back at 3 p.m. British summertime, which currently it's not. It's definitely grey out there, which is very disappointing after weeks of sunshine. And 10 a.m. Eastern. And what else did we say? 4 p.m. Central European time. Anyway, you get the drift. The same time next week. Have the most wonderful weekend, everybody. Bye.
Have a good one. Take care. Bye.
Stay safe.